Hello everyone, welcome to week 3. This week we're going to discuss, this will be the things that we'll be discussing in week 3, a little overview. This is the lab aspect of it. So there's some jQuery library that you'll need to download. We're talking about projections, that'll be in the lecture. Skill sets, that'll be in the lecture. You have your summary, you have your discussion questions, and your review, well, your lab, whatever. But for the most part, we'll just start talking about what we're going to learn this week. Get ahead and get started. Well, this week's assignment, we'll go through some of the stuff, and then you'll be able to apply the stuff that we learned before. So one of the things that we're going to learn is how to create a functioning navigation bar within jQuery. So you don't have to use the same format I'm using, but I want to give you some type of example how to do it. We'll do a click event. We can change the content of the page, make at least 3 different pages. We'll make one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to show you how to change the font or the font type. We could talk about drop down and radio buttons, how to create those. But what I want you to do is go back from module 2 lesson and see if you can challenge yourself to figure out, how like we set up certain elements to change the font type or color and so forth. See if you could challenge yourself to figure out how to do that in this realm. Pretty much the same stuff. We'll need at least one animation, so we'll talk about that. A single HTML page, which we're already doing. Finish the styling in a professional manner, so you'll want to do something nice. Recommend make it your actual homepage, which is like yourname.it.pointpark.edu. Add at least 4 items that we learned in week 3. So 4 items that we learned, just think about menu, action event, etc. And you'll do the same thing. You'll push it to your deployment strategy will be the same. So the continuous integration will be adding code through Git. The deployment will be using FileZilla to push it up to your website. And then your presentation, which is typically the same. You have to do a presentation each week and talk about the new things that you've added. So that's a portion of your grade. All right, so this is Sprint 2, week 1. So this is a new week. In a sense, week 1 and 2 are over with. Now we're starting new stuff. All right, so let's start talking about the first thing I would do is I'd recommend go off to module 3 and download this min.js and put it in your system so that you're able to do it. I'd recommend doing that. So nonetheless, let me again get started. I'll use the one from jQuery, but we'll go from here. So create a new file, and I will call this my jQuery menu.html. And this is just for an example. We're just gonna, you can add this to your, like we already have this page right here. This is my test page, so I don't want to play around with it, but you could add it to your page. So our menu here was a little bit different. All right, so let's do that. And you want to make sure this page is consistent across the board. So we'll do HTML. And what I'll do is every time I do this, I'll create a documentation of this so that we can go HTML that starts off, and then we're going to have our header, and we'll close that at some point, but right now I'll just put it right here. All right, and then we need a body. Now we need to close our body out. All right, so let's see here. So important things is, let's get a title in here. Just indent it in. I'll call it nav bar navigation menu. This is just a demo to show you how to do it, and you'll have to apply it to your site. All right, so in this case, I am going to link let's see here. I have a pre-CSS that I'm going to use and our min. So let me grab the min real quick, which is right here. Let me copy it over. Just give me a second. I need to copy my library over. so let's do this. Let's create a new file. This will be called jQuery 3.2.1.min.js. So that will be needed. So let's copy. I just have it all here. I can find it. Copy it. You could just save what I provided you. Does the same thing. Save it. So now if I open it, it has this 3.21. There's all that stuff in there. I'm sure we got everything copied. Looks good. I'm also going to use someone else's CSS on this. So I'm going to reuse someone's CSS. I'm not going to use my own. Just for the demo. Let me grab their CSS. Alright, so let's do this right here. New file. This will be called jQuery mobile 0.5.0 alpha. Yep, that should be good. Same thing, I'm just gonna copy it over. Perfect. Hopefully it's copied right. We'll utilize that and we'll call that and our thing. All right. So what I could do here is a couple things. We'll do a link. Relation equals style sheet. And reference equals, in this code is in this code. In this case, it's the CSS I'm using. So I could rename that. So I don't have to remember it. Copy it. And I can paste it right there. Perfect. So now we have that pasted. And then we have it closed. Now we need to have our library in there. Link. Actually, it's script, sorry. Script. Source equals. And then we're going to have a script in here. And then we're going to have another script as well. But for now, we need this guy in here. Rename him. Actually, no, let's see. I have it over here. Give me a second. Copy it. Source is right here. And then we need another source. And I'm going to show you two different ways of doing this because I could grab someone else's website and put all this information in here. And I'm going to show you why and why you wouldn't do it. So this one right here will be, I think I already saved it, jQuery dot mobile 1.5.0 alpha dot 1 dot min dot js, which we already have, and we'll close it out with a script. All right, so this references our scripts, our library, our CSS that we're going to use, and our style, which we have right here for now. Actually, I don't think I even put the CSS in there, did I? Oh, it's right here. CSS. All right, so I'm missing something. I have the CSS in here, but I don't have this library in here. Okay. I knew something was fishy. So let's create that library. JavaScript. So I'll paste the code in here, close it, there we go. So now this references stuff that is out there working. All right, great. So now close our heading, create a body, and we'll get rid of this heading because I had already closed it previously. All right, So in our body, I have a div tag, call it data role, and this will be based off the jQuery that I borrowed. Call it page ID equals, we'll call it page 1. And now I need to have a div, another data role tag, a header. And I'm gonna do a heading and call it something. I'll call it Point Park Place. Close the heading out. We'll close out the division tag so you can use it closing it out. Now we'll have another div tag. This one will be different. So let me make life easy. Instead of writing code so much, I'm gonna copy and paste it below it. And instead, we'll call this one main, and we'll reference a class that's in CSS equals UI content. All right, and then we'll do a paragraph and just say welcome to the site. There we go. And now we'll close out that div tag right here. Perfect. Somehow that got back in there again. That needs out. All right, so we got a div here, and a div there. All right, good. That'll be later on. All right, so now I need to have a footer. So I'll do a div data role equals footer. And then we'll come down here and do another data role, which will be our nav bar. Okay. And then we'll do a UL for underline like we did in the previous video. I'll close it out. I tried to close stuff out so that I remember. And then we'll do one of these, and then we'll just reference the rest of them. We'll do link a hyperreference equals, I'll do home, and then class equals UI button active, saying this is active. Oops. Home. Referenced out the link. There we go. Then we could pretty much do the same thing for the other ones in a sense, but it won't have that, so we'll do one of these. A hyperreference equals, I'll say photos.html because we're gonna set up a photo page, and we'll do photos, close out the reference, close out the link, and then what we need to do is copy and paste a couple more times we love. So that way, and we can just change the wording around instead of having to type it out constantly. You learn tricks of the trade because you don't want to have to keep, you don't want to have to keep writing the same code over and over. You want to find easy ways of getting by stuff. So we'll do classes, well, for now, yeah. And then we'll have hobbies. So that'll change what it looks like. And we'll do hobbies. There we go. So we have 4 different things there. Something looks a little weird. Okay, maybe that's fine. All right, so we have the UL that closes out. We have our div tag that closes out, which this one right here should close out the nav bar. And then we should have another one that closes out the footer. Then another one that closes out the page itself. And then we have the body. Why is the body missing set up here? Alright, so I have the body in here twice, so we need to take it out, move it up. Alright, let's see if this actually works. I have my doubts on it. So jQuery menu. Alright, so something is off, and I'll show you what is probably off. It's probably the way that, you see how like I copied and paste all this stuff in here and use these references. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to call the ones that are on the site. I might have copied it wrong, which I had a feeling I did. Let's take this out. Oops. So we script that out. Let's copy the actual link to the site. I have a feeling I copied it wrong. So let's put it below here. This goes directly to that site, which I'm using jQuery's website. All right, so let's save it. All right, so as you see, things look better. So what that means is I probably, when I copy the libraries over, I probably copy something wrong. So that's something that you have to think about. The best thing is to just go out to the site and save it directly. The way I did was not right. Error loading page, no big deal, because there's no page there. All right, so this right here will help you get your menu set up. This is one way. There's multiple ways of doing it. The other thing of the assignment is to figure out how to create an action event. So what we could do is we could take one of our pages and have an event. So for example, I added .html. You could do just pound and have it on a single page, which is fine. But let's just say I want to do classes. Let's talk about the classes I'm doing. I could come here, create a new file. But actually, before I do that, let's stop. Let's continue to do our integration because we've already kind of finished this page a little bit. So let's go back up to terminal like we did previously. Find our location where we're at, PWD. All right, and then we want to do ls, and then we want to go into documents, and then we want to go into, nope, docs. We want to go into, let's see here, all right, CD into my website apps, ls. All right, cool. So we see our information here, which is our jQuery menu, our libraries, and so forth. So we could either CP it into it or copy it over the other way. Either way, it's fine. So let's go one way that everyone will get used to doing. My docs, my website. So we know that these guys don't work, so I'm actually going to take them out because I don't need them. I'm going to copy this guy right here into my repo. We want him to be there. We can make a change to index, so we're not worried about that. All right, so now, let's see here. Go into CD into your repo name, my first repo. So this is the one that's active. Now we'll do a get status, should be green, or red I meant. All right, so we'll add it. And the next thing we'll do is we'll commit it. jQuery menu. Then we need to push it. There we go. Now if we go up to our site, GitHub, first repo, commits, there's the menu right there. We just added jQuery menu. So that's good. So we have our commit for that. Now, if we want to change something, we want to create a classes page. So I'll right click on it. I'll call it classes. Actually, I'm gonna make it lowercase. All right, so what I want you to do on this page is, well, we need some basic stuff in here as usual. So I'm just gonna copy some of this, erase some of it. Like we don't need this here for now. We do need to close the body. Oops. We do need to close the HTML. All right, so you need to put something here. This will be up to you. I'll make it classes. And right here, I'll just for starter and a body. I'll just throw something out here and put a heading. Oops. And maybe in this case, part of the assignment is, think about it, is you want to change the font type of a radio button or change the font type of a drop down. So maybe create a drop down here. Okay. Come up here and do classes so we could create something different here. So let's just say my classes this semester. All right. So let's see how this works before we do anything with it. Fresh it, classes, takes it to your class page. Now what we want to do is create a drop down list here. So maybe start something with, probably also want to figure out how to put that header that we just created on this page. We want all pages to look exactly the same. So that's important. So figure out how to take this header that we developed and put it in this page so it's above. So when you come to this page, you have the header up here. But get you started with the drop down menu to show you some stuff. Let's get started with some heading here and some title and so forth. So I'm gonna do is set up a style and close my style. All right. So a couple things that we're going to need here is we're going to need a drop down, content, a lot of stuff that we're going to need here. To be honest with you, it's going to be pretty heavy. So let's start off with this. So we have our classes right here. Let's do, this will be kind of bare bones for now. So let's call it division class equals, and I'll call it drop down. All right. And then I'll close out that drop down. There we go. And in here I'll have a button class that doesn't exist yet. And we'll call it drop button. And we'll just say drop down. Okay, cool. All right, and then we'll have a div class again. Drop down content. There we go. And we'll close it, and then we'll have a hyperreference. Something, we'll just put a link there, and we'll say CMPS262. And then what would I do here? I would copy and paste this several times. Oops. There we go. Now I'll just change this around a little bit. 162, 462. I don't even know if that's a class. That's 460. Well, no, it's mobile. All right, so we have a few classes here. I want to close out this div tag right now. There we go. Save that for now. Let's see what we got here. All right, so drop down is just a button. We got these links here, so there's not really much there. So what we want to keep doing here is we want to keep doing continuous integration. So always do continuous integration. Try to teach you how to write a script that you can do the continuous integration. Unix, you could write a shell script, but that's not part of this class, that you could execute and then it automatically moves your stuff over. Let's go back to terminal. So let me clear this. Or in, so I want to go out of the directory, and then I want to copy, what do we change classes? HTML to my first repo. Well, here's the thing that we want to do first is check the last time it was changed. So last time it was changed is June 16th at 10:59. All right, so let's say that we copied classes.html over to my first repo and hit enter. Now if we went into my first repo and then ls, gotta look at the time. This is the last time we changed it, was the 16th. So that integration didn't work, so we have to make a change here. I just did it just to make sure it worked. So what you have to do is you have to do copy. So let's do this again. So let me clear it, see what path I'm in. I'll CD out. All right, let's see this. So we're in our classes. So let's view classes. Actually, let's edit it. Oh, I can't do it on here. But it doesn't matter. Let's do this. So let's do this real quick. We have classes right here. Make sure it works. My class for this semester, 2019. So I know this will be a change. So this will definitely change. So let's clear this real quick. Classes is 11/11 today. So we want to do a copy -R. This should allow us to overwrite without prompt and push it to my first repo. Actually, we should put the name of the file that we want to push, which is classes.html, and where you want to push it at, my first repo. Hit enter. Now, if we cd into my first repo, and we do an LSL, see what is wrong. All right, it's actually right. So look at the timestamp. 354, 354. So we could write a script to do that automatically for us. Another video on how to, what we'll do is we'll create a video on how to create a script, and then we can execute that script. And we could do a couple different things, is like, for example, in this directory, we have all these different things. So we could put a parameter in there where you pass in a value of the parameter, which values that you want to integrate, or we could do everything. So we'll do that in another video, but just to give you an example, it's easy just to run this command, but it's also easy to, if we had a shell script like, say, ci code.sh and just execute it, then it would just execute it automatically for us. But for the most part, we got that information in there, so we want to make sure what path we're in, which is my first repo. We're going to do a get status. We should have a change on classes. All right, let's add it. Let's commit it. Create it. Drop down menu. There we go. You want to push it. These are things that I'm definitely looking for you to do each week, is to make sure I see repetition of commits and stuff like that, not just one commit. You'll get points taken off. All right, so we have our drop down button, going back to the code. So we need a lot of stuff to make it look good, because right now it doesn't look like, it looks like crap. We have a button that has drop down. We have some stuff. What we want to do is click on it and have it actually pull up a list of values, and then you can make changes and so forth. So let's get back to it. Style. Let's do a drop button, and we'll do just the same stuff we did before. Background color, and we'll just come up with something. We'll change it as we need. We'll do color. We have white, so we could do white. That's fine. Think of St. Patrick's Day. Padding 16. That's the size for now. We could change the font size. Look at this. I'm already showing you how to do something. Change the font size to 16. PX. Border. We're not going to have any border. Cursor. Pointer. Boom. All right, there we go. Now we need to have a drop down. And in our drop down, we're going to have a position. Where's it at? Okay, position. Relative. Display will be inline block. So location up where it's at. Close it. Boom. All right, let's keep going. All right, so now we'll have drop down content. So that'll feed our content that we had. Display will be none. Our position, in this case, will be absolute. background color. In this case, it is found F9, F9, F9. There we go. Our width 160 px. What else we got here? With we're gonna have box shadow on this, so I'll do 0 px, 8 px. Oops, hold on, I have to do that. Px, 8 px. You don't have to put comments after it, picks it up. 0 px. This is something I stole from the web. Then we'll just put coordinates in there. How we want it to work. And you can change this as we go. And then we'll z-index it at the 1 root. And let's save this real quick. Somebody see anything down here. Alright, so as you see, I saved it and I didn't finish. I'm actually going to close out of it for a second here. Go back into it. I wanted things that the color to show. So you see, if I go over here and hit drop down menu, we have some type of drop down. So in this case, I'm going to do my continuous integration again. I'm going to keep doing it as we go. So we're in the path, so we want to get out of that path. And what we want to do is what? Copy -R classes.html over to, well, let's see where we're at real quick. So let's do an LSL. Now let's do copy -R classes.html over to my first repo. CD into my first repo. Do an LSL, which has similar times. Minute off, no big deal, it works. So we'll do get status, should be red. There we go. Add it, commit it. Boom, push it. Boom. So you see how this works. We keep going back and forth with our commits. We want to make sure that we have some type of, so if something got lost, we could roll back to a previous state. All right, so we're making good progress. All right, so we are on a drop down content. We did a drop down, we did content. All right, so the next one is going to be another drop down content, but we're going to use A for the reference. So let's see if we can change some stuff around here. Let's do drop down content A. The color, black's fine. What do we want for padding? So the padding is just, you'll have to modify it and see what you like. Just trial and error. I just know because I did this a zillion times. All right, so we have that. Oops, that's wrong. We don't want to inherit anything at all. It's 12 MPX. Close it. All right, so now we want to have text decoration. None. And we want to have display. In this case, it's block. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to have a drop down content A, and we're going to do a hover, and then we're going to do background. Oops, let's make it all together. Background, color, perfect. And then we're going to do F1, 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 or is it FL? I can't remember. I'll do FL. I can't remember which one it is. We'll find out when it doesn't work. Then we'll do a drop down, hover, drop down content. Oops. There we go. So when the hover is clicked, we want the content to display, and we'll just display a block. Oops, there we go. All right, so now we're going to do another drop down, hover, which is just copy and paste. That's it, didn't say crap over. So let's do this, copy it, Paste it. So we have drop down hover, which we want. This time we're gonna get rid of this and just put drop button. Something for the drop button. We're just gonna change the background color. So is there something I could use? Let's copy this code here. And let's change the background color to 3PHE41. Perfect. So all this stuff should equal all this stuff. So we have a drop, but all this should hit. So let's hit save. And as you see here, when I click on it, now I have a little bit of a menu. I have 262, 162, and so forth. What I don't have is a highlight, so something, or it's not showing up on my screen, but the code's there for it to work. Let's see if I have something out of order here. So start from the scratch. We have a drop button. Background color is 4CAF50. White PX font size looks good. What's that? Borders none. Cursor pointer, that looks good. And we have drop down. Position is relative. Display is inline block, that looks good. Drop down content. Display is none. Position is absolute. Background color is F9, F9, F9. Okay. Min width. This looks good. And then that looks good. Z index. So that right there looks good. Our content A, I'm just seeing if something's out of line. Black, 12 and 16. Text decoration looks good. Yeah. So drop down content. Everything looks good. To be honest with you, I don't see any problems with it. A black. Okay, so no, drop down content, hover, background color. Maybe I messed that up. I said that before. I can't remember if it was FL or F1. I put FL. So let's copy and paste what I originally had. Oops. I think it was wrong. I had FL. I think it's F1. So let's save that and see if that was it. Yeah, that was it. It's still kind of light. You can barely see it. So I would recommend maybe changing that to a different content. Maybe like a light blue. So if let's look up light blue HTML color. Light blue is this. We could try that. Let's see if that makes it any better. Raining outside again today. I hate rain. All right. Yeah, look at that. That looks a lot better. So by making it blue, it makes it look better. So what I'm looking for you in this exercise is, now instead of drop down, you might want to call it something else instead of drop down. You have a list of values. So last thing, what was the last thing that we have to do? We need to check our code in. So I'm already in this directory. I want to go out. And then I could probably just click up on my arrow and find things I've already used before previously, like this. Put it over here, and then I'll CD into it. And then I'll do an SL, which should be very recently. Yep, that looks good. And then I'll do a get status, add everything, commit, adding last step of drop down menu. And then I'm going to push it to origin, and that's it. So now if I go out to my repo, I have all my stuff out there. We have so many iterations of this, which is beautiful. I love it. I love when we have so many iterations. It just makes things look so much better, easier to play with, even though it just looks like, oh, that's just that one, well, that page. But if we go to our classes page, it's just that page, but we have so many iterations of this, which is beautiful. So we could always fall back on it. So pretty much right there is your assignment. But there's some other information that you have to do in there as well. So remember, when you do this, you'll have to submit a information on YouTube or Vimeo or something that talks about what you did for a week. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Best of luck, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.